Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back if you've been here before. If you're new, my name is Drew. I go by Mass Hollow. I make music and then I do these videos about random thoughts and things that interest me. So if you like what you see, be sure to stick around. So today's video is about hobbies, more specifically managing multiple hobbies. Towards the back end of the video, I'll share some tips that I find useful for managing multiple hobbies without getting too burnt out. And hopefully you guys can get some value from that too. Now, what sparked me even thinking about making this video is that over the past several weeks, I've had multiple people tell me that I have a lot of hobbies. And I never really thought that was the case until I started meeting more and more people. A lot of people that I meet, they have hobbies, but they rarely ever engage with them. And then some people that I've met don't have any hobbies at all. I never really thought of myself as somebody who has a lot of hobbies, but I guess it may be true, especially if a lot of people just don't have hobbies at all. But I never really thought I had a lot of hobbies because all of my hobbies fall into the same or similar categories. So just to give you like a quick rundown, when I was younger, all I did was draw and play video games. I thought I was going to grow up and be an artist, and those two things kind of go hand in hand. You read strategy guides, you see all the concept art, and that just influences what you're going to draw. I put countless hours into drawing when I was a kid. I put countless hours into video games when I was a kid. There was different points where one took a backseat to the other, but both of those things were consistent. Then I got into high school, and doing music was something that I always wanted to do. So I, started writing here and there, getting a little bit more social. Video games kind of took a back seat. So for a short amount of time, all I did was draw and write music. Then once I graduated high school, I pretty much dropped drawing and I picked up working out. So I'd be working out, making music, 50-50, split between those two hobbies. So as I got deeper into making music and streaming platforms became more relevant, I had to make artwork for every single song that I put out. And yeah, of course I could have paid somebody to make the art, but that wouldn't have been sustainable for me. I just wouldn't be able to afford it. So even though design and drawing are like two totally different fields per se, they still fall under that visual arts umbrella, and you're gonna use a lot of the same parts of your brain, in my opinion, to design something as you are to design a drawing. So fast forward to today, I still draw on occasion. I started learning piano. I started making beats. I was doing jiu-jitsu for a couple of years and then I stopped, but I'm hoping to get back into that pretty soon. And I don't see these as new hobbies per se. Maybe they're different specializations in like a larger umbrella, but like making beats and learning piano just falls under a music category, which writing raps falls under and recording falls under for me. Jiu-jitsu falls under that working out category where like lifting weights fell for me. And then, design and drawing, both of those things fall under like the visual arts part. So if you ask me, it's like physical health, music, and then visual art. Those are the only three things I'm really engaged in. They all are like logical progressions from the core interests that I've had my whole life. I don't really look at them as new things. So now that we got that out the way, I think that the people that were telling me that I have a lot of hobbies, they were saying it from a positive place, but it started to give me a complex. I already asked myself if I have too many hobbies, and don't get me wrong, I know I just said that I don't feel like I have a lot of hobbies, but I think that's just copium. I've figured out a way to put everything that I do into these little boxes so it doesn't feel as daunting. But if I take a step back and I'm really honest with myself, I'm a hypocrite. I do feel like I do a lot of stuff, but I always think that it's because I don't feel like I have the time to do what I want to do because there's so much other stuff that I have to do just being an adult. It just feels like I don't have a lot of hobbies. I just don't have a lot of time, if that makes any sense. I don't know, probably doesn't. Time is such a limited resource, and to truly get good at something or master anything requires it in spades. And in theory, the older we get, the less access to time we will have, and the less time we will have in the future. I wasted a lot of time in my early 20s partying and a lot of time as a child playing video games. And the way that I like to look at it is that I just choose to spend my time in different places nowadays. Because in all actuality, I still could just get off of work, play video games, get off of work, go out. But I just don't find it as rewarding anymore. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with either of those things, but I think that you should definitely reevaluate what you want and what's bringing you happiness, and then prioritize that stuff with the little bit of free time that you have, because it's never going to come back. I'm no expert with discipline or time management. I'm not a gifted learner. I'm not a savant by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just a regular ass dude, and I still struggle with thinking I have too many hobbies. I still question if I should quit different hobbies that I have. And I wonder if I should push through and keep going, or if it's just wasting my time. And occasionally I'll put a hobby down for a while, and then I'll come back to it. If you have multiple interests like me, here's a list of 5 things that I feel like contribute to either successfully juggling your hobbies, or at the very least not getting too burnt out on them. And I just think it's worth mentioning. This isn't an exhaustive list by any stretch, but I do think these are 5 of the things that have the biggest impact on keeping me motivated to do what I'm interested in. So for me, I've found that using a planner or a schedule kind of works like having an accountability buddy. I don't follow it to a T, and I only put 1 to 3 things down that I need to do a day for the whole week. And I don't plan too far in the future. I just do a week at a time. And at least for me, putting it down on paper, it makes it easier to follow through. It's easy to say that I want to do something, or I'm going to do that tomorrow. But then when tomorrow comes, like let's say I had a bad day at work and I get home and I'm tired, it's just like, I don't want to do it now. And sometimes you just forget. Like I'll just come home and then I'll forget that I wanted to do something, and I'll be in this like cycle of like, oh, I forgot to do that. I really do want to do that. Let me do that tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes and then I forget. And then, it just falls off the radar. If I wake up in the morning and I open up my planner and I see that I have stuff to do, it kind of puts it front of mind before I get bogged down by the day. And then when I get home, if I pop that planner back open and I see that there's still stuff that needs to be done, I want to cross it off. Once I get to the end of the week, it feels good to have everything crossed off of my list. And life can get in the way, and you don't need to follow it to a T. If you need to roll something over to the next day, or you just don't feel like doing something today, but you feel like doing something else that's on your calendar for another day, just do it. It's really just about keeping you in motion and keeping you moving towards whatever it is that you want to achieve. My next tip is to find a teacher or friends. Finding a teacher or friends. Having a teacher is great for progress. It takes a lot of the burden off of sifting through different information and trying to figure out what's valid, what's not valid. It gives you actionable feedback. It takes that burden off of your shoulders of even having to choose a direction. It really makes like the learning process linear. And there's some things that are just like very complicated that, at least for me personally, I wouldn't have been able to learn alone. For instance, piano, I made no progress by myself, and it just felt overwhelming. Every time I watch a video or something, it seemed like they were just speaking a different language. And then I got a teacher, and slowly but surely, it's all making sense to me. And I know that teachers can be, depending on what you want, like maybe there isn't like a teacher, and definitely don't get trapped in the fucking rabbit hole of people trying to sell you online courses. Some of them are good, but just do your research, make sure you're putting money in the right hands and you're getting something from it. Now, I totally understand that like having a teacher is a luxury, and sometimes there's not teachers in your area, or whatever it is that you do, there's no teachers. So for me, the next best thing, or something that can be done in addition to having a teacher, is just finding a community. Finding friends that do the same thing. Again, I think it's more advantageous if there are people that you know in your real life, but it doesn't have to be. Different people operate different ways. Just because if you're around other like-minded people that are doing the same thing, they're going to consistently push you to be better, and you guys can share what you learned. And it's basically like 2 people covering ground, or 3 people, or however many people covering ground. And it's just, again, everything is not on your shoulders to learn. You can just pick up information from other people, and you can get inspired by other people that are close to you. I think something that I also would like to note is that at least like somebody like me, like all of my hobbies are really They can be solitary. It's easy to get wrapped up in what you're doing and then kind of isolate yourself, not on purpose, but you just isolate yourself from other people, and then you look up and you're like, I haven't talked to somebody for like 6 months. So it's good when you have other friends that are engaging in the hobbies, because it kind of like keeps you grounded in the real world, and you get to have fun and progress at your hobby, but you also get that like social aspect that I think we all need. My next tip is have different hobbies for different environments. So some hobbies you can do anywhere, and some hobbies you need to have specific gear, or you need to be in a specific environment at a specific time to do. So let me explain. Basically, like my piano. I can't take my piano with me everywhere. It's just at my house. That's just the way it is. But I can take my phone with me everywhere. If I want to write, I can play beats in my car. I can write in my notes app, like on my lunch break or on the way back home from work. And then what I'm doing is I'm like stealing back time for myself, so that when I am home, if I do have free time, I can invest it into that one thing that I can only do when I'm at home. My fourth tip, and one of the ones that I think is the most important, is create more than you consume. Especially if you're trying to learn new things, or you're super interested in something. It's like you always want to just take in as much content and as much information as you can find. And nowadays there's no shortage of information, no matter what the topic is. And we're already on these social media platforms. So as we start looking for these new things, then we start getting suggested these things. My light went out, whatever. Like I said in the previous tip, we have our phones on us often, and I don't think there's anything wrong with like picking up your phone and watching a video if you have some downtime, etc. But I do think it becomes an issue if you come home and you could be doing the hobby or doing whatever you're interested in, but then instead you end up, watching a video. And then one video turns to two videos turns to three videos, and then it's the end of your day. Let's say you had like a 2-hour window and you just burn that window just watching videos, and then you're gonna leave, you're gonna feel unfulfilled, and then the next day is gonna roll around and you're gonna maybe not have time to do whatever it is that you were trying to do. So you just want to value the time that you do have and use it wisely. So consistency is key. And over time, it's gonna pay off way more if you just work on your craft than watch videos trying to like get the next step or get an edge. I think there's definitely like a time and a place to do that, but a lot of the times you're learning stuff that you might not even understand, or you can't put into action right now because you don't have like the physical know-how or to even get to that step. So I think it's an easy trap to fall into, and it's just helpful to constantly remind yourself that you want to create more than you consume. We don't want to vicariously live our lives watching somebody else do what we want to do. And the last thing, have fun and remember why you started. I know it's cliche, but it's cliche because it's true. The joy can easily be like vacuumed away from any hobby or interest that you have once you start putting like all these external factors and like expectations on it, and like where you should be and what you should be doing. But if you get too in your head about that stuff, you're just gonna suffer. Honestly, if you start worrying more about like what you're getting from doing the hobby instead of just being grateful or enjoying the hobby itself, just take a break. Try to remember why you started in the first place. Take a break, reflect on why you started. Likely it's because you were just genuinely interested in it, or you found it fun. Instead now you're just chasing a mirage of a finish line that's going to constantly move and move and move. So learn to enjoy the process and just be grateful that you can even engage with the hobby, because some things have an expiration date and there's nothing we can do about it. Let me know what y'all think. Can you have too many hobbies? What are some tips that you guys use to juggle multiple hobbies, especially if you have, limited time like most of us do? That's all I got. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you like what you see and you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I'm dropping new videos every 2 weeks, so hopefully I see y'all in the future. Peace.